Hey, you. You're in the way. Move. Well, that's better. Good work. Well, fellas, we've pulled this guy apart here. We took that guy off so that we can get to this fella. We took a look at the brakes. The brakes are doing pretty good. The inside pad is worn considerably more than the outside pad, which is weird. Kind of makes me want to change them while I've got this all apart, and since it's only like 30 bucks, I'm going to. But the reason that we pulled it all apart was right here. See if you can hear it. Well, now it's not going to do it because you're watching. Here, let me get. Well, I don't know that it's going to show on the video. That guy's not supposed to wiggle back and forth like that. It's also noisy. Listen. Yeah, see how amazing that sounds? That's not the brakes. That's the wheel bearing. I'll give you an idea of. We'll go over to the other side here real quick. I'll let you listen to what it's supposed to sound like. Ready? Listen. Sounds beautiful, right? It doesn't make a whole bunch of noise. And I take this tire and I wiggle it. It doesn't wiggle. So we definitely have a wheel bearing that has not reached the point of being like unsafe or undrivable or anything like that, but I think perhaps maybe we should get her swapped out. So we're gonna work on it, and I'll show you how it's done. I reckon we can let that drain while we're doing the wheel bearing. It should drain out real good. But you guys do me a favor. Don't let me forget to put oil back in it before we're done. I tend to get distracted. And a 19 millimeter removes the brake caliper. One. And two. We're just going to be here doing this for a minute. Oh, look, did that? I did. Kind of. It's finger loose. It's going to come off. You going to do it? Maybe. Oh. It came out. Maybe seal those threads when we put that one back together. That looks like a problem waiting to happen. Definitely going to clean them. All right. Bottom one. Camera. Okay, you get the idea. I'm going to take it off. All right, so we zip tie the brake caliper thing to something. That's the sway bar, so that it's not hanging off of the brake line. Then the next step is we're going to try to get the rotor off. It still has the little screw they put in it from the factory, so hopefully that hasn't seized up. I will probably not put that back on because it doesn't need it. And it's just kind of a ticking time bomb. They get in here and rust and stay, and then you can never get them out, and your brake rotor becomes a permanent addition. So we'll go ahead and take that off, and then we'll break loose this big axle nut and see if we can get the whole thing out. All right. Took a little effort. We had to put some anti-seize penetrating oil on it. Now this comes off one-handed, presumably. There we go. Okay, that's off. We'll put it down there. Next step is that. These can be really fun because they put a lot of juice on them when they tighten them down. So I guess we'll see. Wish me luck. All right, this is the part where we separate the men from the boys. Before we start, though, let's... And one more. Should be 3 of those holding the hub on. And then we also need to remember to take the ABS sensor off, which actually I think it unplugs up right there. We need to unplug it right there because all of this comes all the way down. This all comes out with it and is replaced with the new set. So that can stay, and that just has to clip out of that bracket. And this is the wheel bearing hub part. All of this gets replaced. Like, so these wheel studs and all of that go. So now it's time for me to apply some rotational torsion to this thing and see if I can get that nut broken loose. All right, no more of this like using my muscles, toxic masculinity stuff. Let's just get the power tools out and see what happens. It worked. I literally could not do it with that breaker bar, so this thing's badass. All right, so next step is, this is actually the end of the CV axle. It's this thing here that goes all the way up into there, into the differential, and makes this front wheel turn when it's in four-wheel drive, which I actually have it in four-wheel drive right now so that this whole thing isn't trying to spin as I'm trying to undo bolts and everything else. But it's entirely possible. I don't know if you can see that. This is splined right here to the axle, and sometimes this has a tendency to just kind of to become one. So before we start trying to take the whole thing apart and pull all those screws or other bolts out, I'm just going to hit it with a little pin oil and see if we can make it easier to separate the hub from the CV axle, because it's been like this for just shy of 10 years and 140,000 miles. So it probably likes being the way it is at this point, and we're going to try to coax it to not be. That should be good. So the trials and tribulations of being a mechanic. You get your little end wrench and you go, okay, I'm gonna get on. Let's see here. Right, where is it? Right there. Get on it with this, and it won't go on. So you get on it with this, and it'll go on, but you actually don't have enough torque. Take it off with that guy. So, what are we gonna do? We get on here with this guy with maybe a universalis joint on it. Let's see what happens. Probably won't work. Impact guns don't like universal joints, but let's give it a shot. Well, you'll never guess. It didn't work. I'm going to regroup. That thing's right in the way, isn't it? There we go. Yep. Oh, nope. That isn't going to do it either. The shock absorber's in the way now. Why is everything in the way? Whoa! Easy, fella. Growl. Come on. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Yeah. And there we go. That one's coming out. One of three. I mean, I don't even know where the hard part's at this point. This is just so easy. God. Can we do this more often? All right, let's get on 2 of 3 and see what happens. I think 3 of 3 is just going to be he's going to fight me, because 2 of 3 looks like it's going to go pretty good. That's assuming that this actually breaks free. That's one of the things about these bolts that hold these wheel hubs on. There it goes. They are right down in the thick of all of the salt and road grime and everything else, so they can definitely pack up with some gunk and rust, and everything else. We're going to put thread sealer on them when we put this back together, just to make sure that if we ever have to do this again, we don't, 10 years from now, Scott isn't cursing right now, Scott. At least that's the goal. Okay. 2 of 3 seems to be coming out the way that we would hope. We'll go ahead and finish backing 1 of 3 all the way out. And just so you can see where we're at here, this is the upper ball joints right there, basically. Hey, now we just got to get that guy right there. And I'm kind of thinking that one there. I'm thinking maybe if we turn the wheel. Let's try that. All right, earlier today we took all of the lube juice out of the engine, so do not start the motor, but please turn the key so that it will unlock the steering. If you would, please. Fearless assistant. Just 1 click. There you go. Now the steering should be unlocked. If you would, please crank it all the way over to the right lock, and let's see what happens. Oh, I think that's going to do it. Keep going. Keep doing it. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited right now. This is my excited face. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and turn the key off and pull it out of the ignition so it quits squawking at us. I'm sorry? Yeah, if you want to grab the oil out of there. We do have to put some back in the motor at some point in time. Okay, bring the thunder. Nope. Not going to do it. So we're going to really bring the thunder now. Assuming we can get in there with this guy. He is going to, this is the I wasn't asking tool. This is hard to do one-handed. Why do you guys keep making me do everything one-handed? Okay, here we go. Can we get on it? Can we do it? We did it. Okay. I wasn't asking. Take 1. Ha ha! I win, you lose. All right, now the question is the CV axle... No, it's not? The whole thing's going to come off? Holy cow! That's amazing. Okay, I'm going to unclick all of this. It's really actually quite simple. There's a plug up here that you undo. Follow it down. There's like a little brackety guy that you just kind of lift and separate. And then down here, same thing, little brackety guy. And then it goes through this dust shield. So you kind of have to, get that and fish it through, and it comes out, and then this whole thing just comes off. And since this axle is not stuck in the hub, this whole thing will just come right out right now if I was just to grab it and rip, but it's still attached by that little cable. So I'm going to get that off, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's off. Unconnected everything else. I find that for removing the little guys that are in the thing, that a body panel remover is really, really handy. The new one actually came with all those new little brackets, so I just popped them out. This is the old one. It's noisy and rough and obviously no good, so we're doing the right thing here. Please don't let me forget to put the dust shield back on. I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on these splines, clean everything up, all the contact surfaces up with a wire brush, and we'll start reassembly. Okay, I got the new one on, and I came back here. These are the bolts here in the back side, those guys. I went ahead and used some blue thread locker on them, and I tightened them all down to 100 foot-pounds. Not because I think that's the torque spec, I'm guessing. I don't know. But it's close enough. I'm not going to actually look it up because I don't care. So now we got to put this big nut and washer back on the middle here, and the torque spec on that, as I recall, is like 200 plus foot-pounds. So we just call that TTF, and we just basically use that guy until it stops spinning, and it'll be good. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get it down to the proper torque spec. Ready, set, go. I think that'll do it. All right, so obviously that's tightened down. Came in here and got that's in its place. That's in its place. Click down, clicked it back together and secured in its location. So I think the next step is to put that boy back on. Okay, got the brake caliper bracket bolts back in, torqued down to 100 foot-pounds with a little bit of thread sealant on it. Time to put the wheel and tire back on and we're done. So it's that easy. You too can, I don't know, put your family at risk because you have no idea what you're doing, like I do every day. It's fine.